Good evening, everybody. This is Scott DeCamp with CatchMark SportsNet. This is the CatchMark SportsNet Podcast, Season 6, Episode 2. It's Monday, December 11th, 2023. Yeah, I'm still stuffed up a little bit, but I think I'm on the other side of that now, so I think we're doing all right. We have some up-and-comers, guys who are actually doing a lot of stuff in the sports media industry as young folks. We have with us Mike Meekhof. Welcome, Mike.
How's it going?
Welcome back, I should say. You've been on the podcast at least a couple times before, I think.
Yeah, it's always a great time. Thanks for having me again. Really
I'm going to check our audio here. All right.
Sounds like it's coming
I
through.
think we're getting it through, so I think we're good. We've had some hiccups the last couple weeks, so just wanted to make sure. We also have with us Myles Welch, a Whitehall junior and a sports nut. How you doing?
How's it going? Blessed to be here.
Yeah, good. You had basketball practice probably not too long ago?
Yeah, 3 to 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm here.
Getting ready for the Spartans tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. Should be a good game.
And then you got a team that we won't mention across the bridge on Thursday. And then we have Shayla Hardy, Whitehall freshman, as well as Myles done a ton for us for the Sports Nuts and an aspiring photographer and other things, and she's growing her skill set in many ways. Welcome, Shayla.
Welcome. We're not welcome. Thank you.
That's cool. No, that's good. Hey, you should see how many times I mess up on here. It's all right. We're all good. But so, we just want to talk about what inspires you to do what you do and chase what you're chasing right now, and what young people are looking for in the media world and so forth. But before we really dive into that, I want to thank our sponsors. We'll start with Big Stone Therapies, Rescue 2.0 LLC, Grieve Law, Edward Jones with financial advisor Brett Adkins, Coldwell Banker, Woodland Schmidt with David Duesenberry, Farm Bureau Insurance, the Kenny Agency, 5-Star Real Estate Leaders Matt Parker, The Birdhouse, Scheid Plumbing, Heating and Cooling, Greenidge Realty with Chris Dykman and Sarah Reel, and then our title sponsor, Chris Wank Real Estate of Coldwell Banker, Woodland Schmidt. If you ever wonder what your house or property could potentially be worth in today's market, just reach out to Chris and his team. They can help you out with a comparable market analysis, put that together, the data you need to guide you through the process. He's a real estate agent, having strong working relationships with local lenders. He's a local guy. He can help you out through any situation, be it the purchase of a home, land, etc. He takes pride in this area too, just because he's from here. But he feels blessed to have found his calling and to be able to do that here. So hit him up if you need info on him. Hit me up. And we'll get you guys in contact with Chris. So, without further ado, let's learn more about these three. Obviously, I think everyone knows these three to an extent. We'll start with Mike. He's here on. Is your first semester done with school?
Yep.
So he's
first semester of my sophomore year.
Your sophomore year. He's at Arizona State, Mona Shores alumnus. Started his own media company in high school called M7 Sports. Did a great job with that. What's the latest for you?
Not very much. I mean, it was my first year kind of living on my own in an apartment. That's been really fun. Just getting, to be out there in a new place in nice weather at a D1 Power 5 school is amazing. Getting those opportunities to cover some of those big things. Even though Arizona State's football and basketball teams might not be the best right now, it's still really cool seeing those other teams come in, like, Oregon, Washington, USC in football. And then, to top that all off, it's the last year of the Pac-12. So it's an honor to be a part of that and get to see it sent out.
How weird is that? How sad is that? You see all those. You were at the Pac-12 title game.
Yep.
In Las Vegas, and how weird was that? Seeing all the mascots and stuff there. Was it?
Yeah,
were they all there?
It was a bittersweet for me. Yeah, they were all there on the sideline. And then they played. I forgot what it's called. Green Day. Time of Your Life. As they were walking off the field, it just made it. Even more like that. But yeah, that was really fun. Just to be able to experience that. Get to go to Las Vegas. That was only my second time there. So it's stuff I'll remember the rest of my life for sure.
So Myles, if you've ever seen Myles, he loves wearing college hoodies. He's rocking the Tar Heels one tonight, but he's got an Oregon one. What else do you got in your collection?
I don't got Arizona State, but I do have Florida State, Michigan State, of course, Iowa, just a ton of different colleges.
Michigan State fan?
Oh yeah, Michigan State. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So his dad went to Michigan. He's an Ohio State fan though. So
Gotcha.
he's, to each his own.
It was a tough year for us too.
Hey, it's all relative. And you
I feel
just
bad. I'm like a Michigan fan and like in
it
between.
doesn't matter. They're all to me they're all pretty much the same. Fans are fans.
Yep.
It is what it is. I mean, Mike knows that, and it's we like to talk trash back and forth. Oh, this one's better. I mean, really, at the end of the day, though, a lot of the fans are people who've never even went to school there. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just those are seem like the most passionate ones generally, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just that's how it is. So,
and I will say this for our Michigan audience. I mean, what a time to be a Michigan and a Lions fan right now.
I know.
I mean, I know that the Lions just lost, but to have both of them good at the same time and at the top of their league. I mean, when's the last time that's happened?
I know. And what a time to be me and to be able to go see these teams in person, and they keep losing every time I go to watch them. So I think I'm about done with that. Went to the Lions game yesterday. We were at the Michigan State Arizona basketball game a couple weeks ago. We were at the MSU football game at Ford Field. We knew what was going to happen. Maybe not that bad. They gained 53 yards. So, but the high school finals were that weekend, so that made up for it. But So what I want to just kind of turn the discussion a little bit to these two, to Myles and Shayla. What interests you about sports so much, first and foremost?
Well, so for me, I was super interested in sports from a young age, and I followed MLB, NFL, NBA, all the college sports, and I just figured, and I knew that there was a career in that, so I really wanted to be a part of that. So now I'm striving towards that right now.
And Myles wants to be a broadcaster. He's got a podcast that he does, and breaking down some NFL games and stuff and matchups and whatnot. And he's kind of along your career path, Mike.
Yeah, that's
as far as what you want to do. So you guys need to talk. Shayla, what about you? You're obviously a freshman, pretty young yet in this game, but I think it's awesome. At your age, I wasn't even thinking about that stuff, and just the getting a leg up on a lot of other people that at your age that might not have this experience. What's that been like?
So at a young age, I was always like getting pushed around with going to like different basketball games for my brother, and I honestly kind of like liked doing that because you get to be involved and you get to like see the different types of things that happen and like all that type of stuff. And so I kind of like that's the main reason why I kind of fell for going to sporting events and kind of took upon like this good idea of taking pictures or whatever.
You don't say no to assignments that go your way, not often, unless you already have plans made. And what is it about that part of it, taking photos and being part of it, that's exciting for you?
Like going to different sporting events and taking pictures, like you get to be like there. You get to like kind of say like those are my pictures. Those like if people use them, and like then like you get to be known for like all the stuff that you do and like all that. And so it's pretty awesome and it's pretty fun to like be a part of.
How often do you get people asking, "Hey Shayla, get me this photo," or "Get a photo of me"?
I would say during baseball season, I think the first person I ever had was probably Cal Stratton saying, "Can you get me at first base?" And that was probably really funny. But I mean, I did it because if you have like an upperclassman, like pretty cool guy, asking you to do stuff and like whatever, like you're gonna do it because you appreciate getting asked certain things. So
no, that's why I'm 50, almost 51, quite a bit older than you guys, but even at this age, that's why I enjoy high school sports, is because Mike can speak to this a little bit too. I've covered some professional stuff, I've covered some college stuff, but I keep coming back to high school sports. I just love it's mostly innocent, I'd say. They're passionate, they're appreciative. I think that's a big part of it too. They want you there. They want you documenting these great memories for them, and so that's what appeals to me. I got to kind of refers to the comment section. We have our first comment of the podcast. It's Sean Hadke, Montague Grady says, "Evening, everybody. Good to see you. Mike, can we get a Go Blue?"
Never gonna happen. Would appreciate you tuning in.
Do you want to say Go Blue then? Shayla, you want to take it up for Mike?
Go Blue.
All right.
Love Go Blue.
I'll let you do that.
I'll give you one of these.
So, Myles has obviously encountered this too. with his peers, really wanting to. They love it when he interviews them. I can see it. I've watched it happen. Capturing the videos of their big plays, talking to them after the game. They love it. I think they like me doing it too, but I think they like it more from their peers. And for me, I can really appreciate that. And from your side of things, what's that like, Myles?
So yeah, like going off of Shayla, it's just cool being there. And then high school sports, the atmosphere it's different. You don't see that everywhere, especially when Whitehall is a good team. So everybody, not even just the students, came to the games, and so it was just fun being on the sidelines, and then after the game, interviewing the boys after a big win or something like that.
How for you two? How different is it from the stands than to the sideline? Watching it with your peers in the stands, and then getting right down in the action.
I would say, like, if I was in, like, the student section, I feel like it was just, like, you were so busy doing something else. But then when you're down on the field, that, like, you get everything. Like, picture-wise and just, like, the action-wise or, like, videos or whatever. Like, you get to see it. Like, obviously you're going to see it in stands, but you get to see it, like, right there. Like, it's just, like, right there close up. It's not, like, such a big deal, I would say. Oh, my gosh.
No, you're right. What about for you, Myles? Because I know there's a time or two that, like, I think tonight I just want to watch from the stands, and I can appreciate that too, because you are a high school student. You want to kind of soak up those memories as well. But what's the vantage point difference?
I didn't really see a difference. I think Whitehall student section needs to step it up. You couldn't really hear them out there, and then compared to other schools, you could definitely tell a difference. They're more into the game, while we're all just on our phones and not even paying attention to the game. But so I like being on the sidelines in that matter a lot.
So I sent Mike the TikTok. He's seen it of your bucket against Orchard View.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Shayla
awesome.
almost got ran over in that play.
God,
I kind of
died.
ducked and I should have tried to catch him, but I didn't want to get in his way and maybe hurt him or hurt me. But Myles, you got a steal, wasn't it, near midcourt?
Yeah, I
Got
jumped
a
the pass. Yeah.
steal. He jumped it and dribbled in, and a really difficult lefty. And you're not left-handed.
No.
That was a difficult, like, falling away lefty. That's a really hard shot. And I mean, what was that? What was that whole thing like? And what was it like having the camera flipped on you?
I think it was cool. I mean, basketball is not really my sport, but I play it to stay active, and then so when I get in, I try my best, and yeah, so opportunity was there, so I took it and ran with it.
How do you feel about the way you guys are playing right now? You guys are 2-0, only played a couple games, but
Yeah, I think we're ranked 9th in Division II for basketball, so I think we got a pretty good shot rest of the season as long as we can stay locked in and continue to play our game.
So, Mike, you've got some experience in your spend. You've been 2 years away, but I know you still keep tabs on things. And
Yeah, absolutely.
what are the sports that you enjoy covering the most, and even now in Arizona?
See, football has always been my passion, so that's always going to be my number one. But, basketball number 2. But one that's kind of underrated is volleyball. I mean, I've just always loved the atmospheres at those games, and I never really got into it when I was back here in Muskegon, but having covered it a few times down in Arizona, both for ASU and some of the high schools, it's just really fun, and it's awesome seeing the passion and competitiveness that comes from those games, especially around certain communities.
So tell the story on how you and I first met when you were at Mona Shores and I was working at M Live, and I'd come to practice and stuff. I don't want to give away anymore. I want you to tell the story, but share that story and how that happened, and then how M7 came along.
Yeah, so I was my freshman year of high school at Shores. I was playing football. They let anybody move up that's an underclassman for the playoffs. So I did because, like I said, I've always been into football. And I just, thought the experience was so cool. Even if I wasn't going to get in, even if I was, 130, 140, 5'10", I just always wanted to do something like that, and got to Ford Field that year. But during the playoff run, I'd just be standing on the sidelines while they're practicing because I wasn't even really good enough to get on scout team. And Scott would always be around interviewing people back when he was at M Live. And, me being into football that I am, I knew who he was just from reading his articles and following him on Facebook and Twitter and stuff. So I would approach him, talk to him, same with during the games, during that playoff run. And he really inspired me. Shouldn't be talking in third person because you're right here, but
No,
you
that's
really,
cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you really inspired me to pursue this as my career and start M7. And I just felt like, it's something that's fun enough and something that I'm passionate enough about. And I had a bunch of friends playing that I really wanted to get more exposure, to be able to do that. And I'm just so thankful to have had you as a mentor through all that.
No, thank you. But you are really missed around here, but obviously by me, but also I've heard it from coaches and ADs and stuff, how much they miss your coverage, but also you being around, because you're not just trying to get the story, which, yeah, that's part of it, but you're trying to form relationships, and that's what
Absolutely.
this business is all about too.
And there's a lot of people, I still stay in close contact with around here. I mean, those relationships were more than just on the field. A lot of them I just consider close friends.
Oh yeah, you can see that. So, in terms of advice for Myles and for Shayla, what would you say about someone their age that's getting started? What they need to experience, what they should go after. Obviously, it's a little different maybe for both of them what they're actually going to go after, but what would be your advice to them?
All right, so just a few things.
Water.
Probably the biggest thing is never change who you are for anybody. Be yourself. And I know a lot of people say that in every different walk of life, but, and there's a lot of people, too, that say, don't care about what others think and stuff. And that's true for a lot of things. Like, I don't care what people think of, how I am as a person and, whether I'm weird or cool or funny or boring, whatever it is. But do care about being respected. Care about doing everything you can to make sure when you walk away from someone that they can't say, oh, that person treated me bad or that person, did me wrong in one way or another. Make that a point of emphasis through everything. And then when it comes to other people criticizing you maybe for something you did, one of my good friends told me this years ago. Don't take criticism from anyone you wouldn't take advice from. So, if it's coming from like Scott, for example, I'll listen to that because I have a ton of respect for him. We're good friends. If he said, hey, I didn't think you approached the story right, or I think you said the wrong thing on social media, I'd listen. But if it's just some random guy on the street that I've never talked to, I don't know if he's got my best interest at heart or if he's just, trying to get in the way of what I'm trying to achieve. So, probably those two things are the biggest, even though I could go through a whole list.
That's a two-way street too. Like I turn that back the same way toward Mike. I've floated questions to him. Hey, what do you think about this? Is this the right way to do it? Because even though I've been doing this a long time, it doesn't mean you're always doing things right. And
Absolutely.
You can always learn from other people. Do you have questions or any comments you'd like to make to Mike? Either Shayla or Myles. And don't. Hey, this is a podcast. We're here to talk. So
No.
whatever. It could be anything.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
What's kind of your end goal?
My end goal, well, if I was talking my dream, it's to be on ESPN or FS1 on one of those opinion shows. But getting out of school, I would love to have a job in a bigger market that I could cover professional sports, college sports, and high school sports. So, somewhere like Detroit would be perfect, Chicago, Miami, LA, something like that that's got all three.
Yeah.
Because you want to be national, don't you?
Oh yeah, national
analyst.
Everybody wants to be national. It's just, there's a long road to get there.
Yeah.
So I kind of.
And I wouldn't say everybody, but a lot.
Yeah.
Most do.
Yeah,
You're
most.
right in that. You're
Yeah.
right. I mean, I know what you meant. You didn't mean it literally, but yeah.
Yeah. I try to set, like, what's a goal for the near future, like when I graduate college, and then what's an all-time, like, dream goal where if everything lined up perfectly, where would you want to be? And so try to chase, those two one at a time, in my opinion.
And then it's just, I would say, give yourself those experiences. I think what you guys are doing now is great. Not trying to pat myself on the back for that, but we want to give you as many experiences as possible, doing different things. I don't know if, hopefully you don't mind me bringing this up, but Myles and I even talked about maybe some kind of a co-op thing during the school day. We have to nail down the details on that, but just different stuff that so we can help push you guys toward your long-term goals and other things like that. And if nothing else, put it on a resume.
Yep.
And just say, because when I got to Michigan State, we didn't have a high school newspaper. I wasn't even thinking about sports writing until halfway through my college career. So I was trying to get a job at the state news, the school newspaper, and they wouldn't take me because I didn't have any experience. Thankfully, I had a connection. Dan Dickerson's wife, I brought him up before. He's the Tigers radio guy. His wife is one of the main journalism professors at Michigan State, and so she had a former student that helped me get in at the local sports journal, not there, Lansing State Journal. They got the same acronym, LSJ, so I always kind of get those. But when I was in college, I worked at the Lansing State Journal, and he got me in there. They got me in there. So, but it helps who you know. Marketing's huge.
Absolutely.
Get your name out there. But I know Shayla's being a little quiet, so
Sorry,
we're not gonna let her out of here unless someone else has a comment right now.
I will say I completely forgot about that. Probably the most important thing in this business is relationships. I mean, you can go to Northwestern or Stanford, have a 4.3, but if you don't know anyone, you're probably not going to go anywhere. And so one of the best things you can do, actually, when I was doing M7 stuff, I'd usually be at the same games with like Scott and the guys at Fox 17, like Jason, Zach, Jamal Spencer, LSJ guys, MuskegonSports.com. Just talk to as many people as you can, because it gets lonely on the sidelines if you're not talking to other reporters a lot of the time. So, just try to approach those people. Just, talk about the game or whatever if you're uncomfortable. It's just, and when you see each other multiple times and you get to know each other, because it is a small town, that's how you kind of build those relationships. And, like, for example, that's how my senior year I was able to intern at Fox 17. So just do the best you can to network and build relationships with as many people in the industry as you can, because it can't hurt you.
And they are competitors in some ways, but I never look at it as a cutthroat thing where, I'm not going to talk to them. They're the enemy. I've never looked at it that way. Maybe it's different in a big city, but even then, I don't know if, and I guess I wouldn't know if unless I was in that situation, but I never, wherever I've been, never looked at it that way. I always wanted to kind of get along with those guys and did, and like those people because they're doing the same thing that I'm doing, just for a different company. But this industry can chew people up too, and I'm not saying that's what happened with the guys who are leaving, but it can happen because it's a lot of nights and weekends. So
holidays.
Yep, just depends on what you want to do. But again, I'm not letting Shayla off the hook. You got to ask at least one question of one of us on the panel.
Anything.
You have to have something.
No, I don't. I swear. Like, I just don't have many questions, and like it's not bad.
Any comments about what you heard, about what Mike said?
I was gonna say, like, going off about what he said about like being on the sidelines and like talking to different reporters. I'm just gonna say the same thing about being like on the sidelines as a photographer. Like, being there talking to different photographers, like you get to see their type of photos that they have taken. They have taken, nothing else. You get to kind of see like the different perspectives of like, these are my photos, these are theirs. Like, you can kind of build on that, and then you get to like kind of like meet and like kind of like spread out, and like you can just meet new people.
No, that's how you learn it. I mean,
perfect.
like Leo.
You're doing it the right way.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And Leo Valdez is a good example of that. He's really helpful with those things. He takes great photos. He cares about the community. That's who I like to be around, are the people who really, you can tell, the ones, most of them do, but I can appreciate people who really care about the community that they're in. So any other thoughts on that before we move on? But future of the industry. You guys are all younger people. What is the future of the industry? Where is it going, do you think?
I think it's just, overall, it's tougher and it's more competitive because of the rise of the internet. Like, before, the only way people could see your work or your opinion on anything was if you were employed by a newspaper or an outlet, or, and now with Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, anybody can have an opinion about anything, and in 2 seconds it can be out for the rest of the world. So in a way that helped me, because when I did M7, that was all through social media mostly. But when, if you're trying to compete against other people, like what makes your opinion or your story more valuable than all these other people? And that's where it gets really tough. So you got to constantly be able to adapt. Like even when I first started, YouTube and Facebook were bigger for spreading my stuff out. And now like TikTok's rising like crazy where, I was never a fan of TikTok, and I'm just like, now having to adapt and get used to that more. So, yeah.
It's a tool. I mean, I have my own TikTok account. I hardly ever post to it. I usually just post on the CatchMark SportsNet one, but it's a way for us to reach people, and especially younger people. But, what do you guys see as far as where things are at, where things are going?
For me, I think it's kind of just what kind of department you're looking at. I think for radio or broadcasting, I think it's a little bit more expanded because every team has their own set of team in its own right. So, any team you think of, Ohio Bobcats, college football, there's going to be a lot of guys covering the game. So for each game, the broadcasting team is bigger. So I think in that department, it's definitely easier to get into.
Let's see. Like going back to what Mike said, like when your stuff would not be like posted or like shown like different places, like the newspaper was like the main thing that everybody would pay attention to. I agree on that because from having like my brother play baseball and like whatever, I remember like the first time he ever was on the newspaper, and I just thought that was like the coolest. He was the most coolest person I know, just because like these people have their pictures posted, done, like written up, has a whole story, and like I just thought that was really cool. And just he would like my brother was like awesome as a player, and then like these people that take their time and write this whole thing were pretty interesting and have like a good way to start their life.
Yeah, and you're part of that now.
Yeah.
You're on the other side of that. So for those who don't know, Taryn Hardy is her brother. He's at Indiana Tech, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I'm playing baseball there, and had a really nice senior season at Whitehall. So yeah, it is cool. I mean, it's the newspaper thing has changed quite a bit. Some still print newspapers. I think we're obviously at CatchMark here in more of the digital realm or all digital realm, but we try to reach people as many ways as possible through videos, podcasts, TikTok, like we talked about, but any social media. Our social media is really blown up. Our CatchMark SportsNet YouTube channel has really erupted recently. We reached 10,000 views today, actually. So it's really exploded. But we haven't even really, I don't know, I don't think we've really even scratched the surface yet of what it could be, because if we expanded out of this area, we don't want to leave this area. We want to do what we're doing here, but grow it out and expand it. Just because I think there's other areas of the state that would appreciate that brand of coverage. So it's just we have to build it the right way to do it. So, but what do you guys like to see in coverage? Like, what's your number one means or number one thing you like to, or platform you like to peruse to get coverage?
For me, it's either YouTube or Twitter. If it's a video, typically YouTube. I still like a lot of the same stuff I used to do, for example, as well as, podcasts like this. And then on Twitter, a lot of times I like, immediately after something big happens, like in the NFL or college football or high school, anything, seeing people react and seeing their opinions and stuff, especially people more prominent.
And what do you guys like to see?
I think my favorite thing is just maybe the ESPN channels on TV. They cover a lot of things, like any storyline they'll cover like maybe 5 minutes and then they'll move to the next one. Like it's not like it's a lot. They definitely cover a lot of stuff, and then ESPN, they have multiple shows of different hosts, so you kind of get a mix of everything.
I think that's how this air is a little bit different than the air that maybe I grew up in when it was more newspaper based. That maybe had a little more lasting effect, like a story or something. Now, like to Myles' point, you see something and 5 minutes later it's on to something else or less.
Yep.
Less than 5 minutes. that shelf life's pretty short. Doesn't mean you can't go back and look at it, but it's just different. What do you guys see?
Yeah, and I will say another thing too with like the ESPN stuff. I don't even really watch ESPN on TV, but pretty much every day on my YouTube, I'm watching, like, if I see like a snippet of First Take or Undisputed or something like that, or breaking news, like, I'll click on that, and that's how I watch ESPN, even if it's not like, watching it on the real channel. And I think that's another way it's kind of adapted in the last 5 to 10 years.
Does anyone have any more thoughts on that?
I don't know. Like, where I would, like, watch all my stuff, I'm, like, on all social media trying to, like, get the best of it. But I will probably just, like, if it was for CatchMark, I would be, like, my parents and, like, we'd be watching it on, like, everything because, like, you guys covered, like, the whole game, and now that I'm a part of it, like, I could be covering it. I can kind of, like, talk about what was happening or whatever, and it just kind of, like...
Yeah, because you're not embedding yourself in the game, but you were there to document it. Yeah. So, you have your own perspective of it and everything. So, yeah, that's a big one. As you guys being working, with us through the SportsNet program, what do you think? How would you like to see things go? What areas would you guys like to see us maybe pursue more? And that, when I say us, it includes you, because you guys are also, I know Myles is busy playing basketball, but in the times he's available, what are the things that you guys would like to see more of?
I think for CatchMark specifically, you guys should come out with like maybe like more rankings, because I don't really see that much. I mean, I see like you obviously give the scoreboards on updates of games, but I'd like to see more like a lot of opinions on like rankings and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we did. I did more of that in I'm Live, and probably could bring that back, honestly, here. It's just you have to define what area you're covering. And, yeah, we cover the West Michigan Conference a lot. We're trying to expand out of that as well. Yeah. But that is a good point. That's something I've thought about. But, that's something that you might even be able to do. Obviously, you have to have and we'll talk about this topic in a bit, too, about being impartial, because that's important in this industry. Mike can tell you that as well.
Absolutely.
It's really important to be impartial and not be a homer for the team you're covering.
I mean, I think it just create a lot of buzz between the conference and a lot of the different schools. So that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. What'd you like to see, Shayla?
Oh my God, I feel like I'm saying like I don't know for everything, but like
what do you, for non-sports stuff, what do you look at? Are you on TikTok? Are you on Snapchat? Like, where are you at?
I'm on everything. Like, I'm on everything, looking at everything. Like, I have like a handful of the apps, and so I look on every single platform for whatever I need to.
Like, what's going to move the needle the most for us?
I feel like many people, like how we already have it, we have it on Facebook and we have it on like Twitter and stuff like that. But I mean, many people like go on Facebook, and I feel like that's one way we can do it, or just like any social media platform. I feel like.
Well, you know what, our probably our biggest impact we've made in the last year or so has been through social media. Like, the website's nice, it's fine, but our in-game updates or any kind of news or anything that we share on there, that's what people. I think it's because that's where people are at, and they want to look at it, digest it, scroll, move on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you see in your working? I know you work in Arizona a lot. Not that it's tons different, but we'll talk about that as well. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I'd agree. Like, you basically have to have a really catchy headline, on your tweet or your post, or people are just going to scroll past it.
Yeah.
So you got to like kind of get that hook there. Not necessarily, I'm saying like bad or anything, but you got to have something that people know immediately what the story's about, like in the first few words.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as just as someone that watches you guys out in Arizona and pays attention still to this area, I'd love to see you guys, expand to the OK Conference, because, I feel like not many people do video stuff anymore on Muskegon or Mona Shores, and I'd love to be able to watch those games or highlights or video interviews instead of reading through some of those stories.
No, that's a great point. So, speaking of in Arizona, and you've covered a lot of stuff here in Muskegon area, and then obviously now a lot of stuff in Arizona both collegiately and high school wise. What are the big differences? Are there big differences or no?
I'd just say it's a lot bigger, obviously. I mean, the Phoenix metro area is the third biggest in the country. There's, here, for example, you might have a handful of D1 recruits out of the 30 schools I covered.
Yeah.
And out there, it's, just normal, like, to have 5 4-stars on the same team or something like that, for example. So, or celebrities' kids on it. Like, there was a team I covered that had Larry Fitzgerald's kid, Darren Sharper's kid, Donovan McNabb's kid, Kurt Warner's kid graduated the year before, like, all at the same school.
Yeah.
Brian Urlacher's kid. It was, it was crazy. But, I'd say that's probably the biggest difference. As far as the game on the field, I think there's more similarities probably.
Yeah. So I've got a really good friend of mine, Scott Gierzak, lifelong friend who has been teaching and coaching in Houston for a long time, and he coaches a freshman team that helps out with varsity. It's insane. Like his freshman team has, 75 guys on it.
Yep.
And the varsity has the same thing what you're talking about. 5-star, 4-star, 4-star, 3-star. Yep. I mean, and then the opponents, and they're okay in football, this team, but they play some of the just powerhouses too, that it's even more. They got 2 5-stars, 3 5-stars, whatever. And Texas football is just a different world than Michigan too.
Yeah,
I've seen people
I've
that.
never got to experience that. I'd love to at some point.
Yeah.
Just go down to a game down there.
Yeah.
Because I've heard those stadiums are like bigger than Grand Valley and Ferris State. Everyone around the country talks about Texas high school football.
Yeah. So back to Michigan sports, Michigan high school football, Michigan high school basketball. You're in the middle of it, Myles. Obviously, you didn't play football, but play basketball. How's it different for you as a reporter covering football and now as a player on the basketball team in terms of your lens and what you see?
Yeah, so I think I pay attention to more of, I guess maybe more of the coaches. I think I pay attention a lot to how the coaches strategize a lot more, because it's definitely a lot. It's not an easy thing to do, especially when you're playing a good team. There's a lot of strategy going into that. So, watching the games is definitely different when I'm on the sidelines and stuff.
Have you got dunked on in practice by Camden or Kamari yet?
Not yet. I got out of the way.
You just get out of the way?
Just
give them the lane? So, you've seen, what Whitehall games have you covered? I'm trying to remember. Take me back through it. You saw the game at Orchard View.
I did the Orchard View game. I would do soccer games.
But as far as basketball this year for Whitehall, which ones? Was it just one or two?
I think I only have been to one. I've been to
the Orchard View one, right?
That was it.
So, because I've been doing, like I said, a long time. I'm not a photographer. I bring a camera, try to get lucky, get some photos. But did you get or did you not get Cam's dunk?
Okay. I did not. Sadly, I feel like it's such a disappointment moment. Like when you have like that sports lens on, it's so bad because it's killer. Like you're right under the net, and you're like, or hoop or whatever, and you're trying to get it, but then like when he dunks or when somebody dunks,
it happens so quick.
It happens so quick, and basketball is a quick sport too.
Yeah.
Like soccer or football, I can cover.
Football's more forgiving because you can see it develop, kind of.
Yeah, like it's not that hard to get, but basketball and like all these other sports are like so much more quick, and like I'm gonna say this with wrestling as well. Wrestling and basketball are probably the 2 quickest sports.
Yeah.
And just it's kind of hard to cover them and just like kind of be there on top of it. And
you encounter that still, or you're like, dang it, I missed that dunk or whatever.
It happens all the time. Like,
doesn't it frustrate you?
Don't feel bad about it. It's happened to me more than once. Missing a dunk, missing a touch. Like, for example, there was a game earlier this year where my camera battery died and the other battery was in my car. So I had to miss an entire drive running back to my car.
Yeah. We've all been there.
Yep.
That's why I try to record everything, every play, but then it fills up your phone or whatever, and camera, whatever, what have you. But yeah, man, that's frustrating because I think Cam's dunked twice this year.
Something like that.
I've seen both of them. I got video of both of them, but photos of neither of them. So dang it.
I need to be on top of that.
It's fun to get, but as far as one thing I wanted to kind of bring up is we were talking about just trends and stuff and things that have been happening out there. Mike brought up like the landscape of NIL, like name, image, and likeness. You're seeing it all over college now. It's seeping into high school sports. Also, you're seeing big news on transfer portal. It's just way out of control. I mean, I guess I'm giving a commentary on that, but it's just that's the way it is. It's just how much you guys know about. I don't know how much you know about, Shayla, how much you follow it with the NIL, with people getting paid for getting their stuff used by, and getting paid for basically what they do. You think it's a good thing or not?
Honestly, I feel like it depends. Like, if you give off, like, your work just for free and you don't take it, that's completely up to you. Like, how I do, like, when you ask me, like, hey, you want to, work for us or whatever, I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll give you my pictures for free, obviously. I'm not going to pay these people for my pictures because I feel like it's just, one, a waste of people's money. Two, it's a waste of my time trying to figure out how much
it's worth.
Yeah, and I just feel like giving off my pictures are just better than whatever.
Oh,
it really depends on other people.
Yep. Yeah, I think a similar thing. The new college football game coming out in the summer hasn't
I'm
came
so
out
excited for that.
I know it hasn't come out since 2014. I think EA Sports is offering the players $500 to $1,000, somewhere in between that, to be in the game. But I've seen a lot of players say that they don't even need to get paid. Like they'd just be in there for free. So
I'm not sure if this is true, but I heard that who's the kid, McCord? Is it true that his dad was looking for $3 million from Nebraska? Or is that all rumor?
Well,
I don't know. I haven't heard that, but I will say this just about the changing landscape. Back when I was younger, I went out to lunch with one of my friends that was playing college football, right? And I'm like, yeah, let me get the bill for you. No.
Oh yeah.
You can't pay for that. And that's how it was. And I thought that was just ridiculous. Like I couldn't, even though have nothing to do with the school or anything, I can't give them any gifts, pay for any meals, whatever. If you have a job, it has to be completely separated from the university and. And so I think in a lot of ways it's changed for the good. I like seeing that a lot of players are able to go and make what they're worth, especially when they're putting their body on the line.
Yeah.
And I always said, you should either be able to declare for the draft immediately or get paid for playing college football, because I've seen a ton of career-ending injuries. Now, with the transfer portal, that's another thing I've supported in a way where I've seen a lot of kids go in bad situations and basically be stuck there in the past, or they had to sit out an entire year, which I don't think is that fair. But I do think, the way it is now, or it's basically I didn't start my redshirt freshman year, I'm transferring, or, something like that. It's basically, the days of earning your stripes and having to work hard to get to that point doesn't really exist as much, when people are so quick to leave. So I think, kids should be able to leave after staying for 2 years, one. And two, if the coach that recruited them leaves, takes another job, gets fired, something like that. Other than that, I don't think it should just be this free-for-all, unrestricted free agency with no salary cap and, schools basically being able to pay kids whatever they're worth through their booster club. It's NIL too should be more if I get a deal with Nike or something like that. Not where, hey, we have $3 million lined up for you to come to our school.
How do you regulate that? How are they going to regulate the portal? I know that's a different discussion. NIL, although they're intertwined too, because a lot of kids go into the portal because of opportunities. How do you regulate all that, Myles?
I don't know, but I do agree. I like the portal, but I think to an extent. I saw a dude who transferred 3 or 4 times just because grad transfer and and medical redshirt or whatever. You can transfer 3 times, and then you see guys like Bo Nix, for example. He's been in college for 6 years now. I think it's insane. And then Marvin Harrison, I saw that he's a consensus top 3 pick if he declares. And I saw something that Ohio State's offering. They could offer up to $20 million just for.
He can offer more than what he'd make in the NFL, right?
I mean, I think that's insane.
Yeah, and I think if you're Marvin Harrison Jr., assuming that's true, you'd be an idiot not to take that because you're already the best receiver in college football.
Yeah.
Or you know, and I think he'll have a great NFL career, but you never know if it's going to work out or not in the NFL. So why not just basically play with house money and come back?
And you never do know about NFL. I mean, kind of an aside that DJ Moore, I think he's a Western, played at WU for the Bears. Did anyone ever say, oh, that guy's going to be a stud in the NFL? I mean, you never know how a kid's going to. Now, that's kind of on the opposite side of things. Marvin Harrison Jr., everyone knows about him. He's a stud in college. People presume he's going to be a stud in the NFL. But there's guys out there that develop, a guy like DJ Moore and others that people might not be saying or recognize as like a household name, but they can become one. So,
For sure.
I don't think his draft stock would change that much if he stayed another year either. I mean, obviously, teams taking more of a risk on an older guy, but I think with his talent, I think he'd still be a top 5 pick.
Or it could go up because there's not going to be a Caleb Williams in next year's draft.
True.
For example.
That's true.
So one other topic I wanted to kind of bring up was what's allowed in sports journalism in terms of ethics. And Kirsten Thompson, I'm not sure if you guys heard, and so she's basically a sideline reporter and has done some other things in the sports media world. Well, she kind of was in an interview recently and said that, you know, these sideline reporters, male or female, will go catch up with the coach at halftime or whatever, get a couple comments and do the report. Well, she had admitted or at least said that I've done it before where I don't get the coach, I just make it up. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
It's just so wrong to me, you know, because basically you go into this and you have a job because people trust you and trust what you're saying. And when you go out and you're admitting to fabricating information as a journalist, I think it's a fireable offense. I don't know how she's still employed, if I'm being completely honest about it. I take pride in what I do, and I would never, ever intentionally deceive anyone because I know the responsibility that comes with, you know, the job I have and how lucky I am to be able to do that.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of female sideline reporters and other reporters who've said how disappointed they are and how upset they are at her. You're obviously in the very beginning, you're not, and you're going for photography, but who knows? Maybe one day you might want to be a sideline reporter. As a female, how does that news hit you when you hear something like that? Especially when females have to work really hard to get those positions.
Yeah. Like, just hearing that when you said that, I was like, what? Like, if you didn't see my face, I was like, what? Like, as I talked to you before about, like, not being able to get a coach, I was talking to you, I was like, sorry, you didn't get a coach, but making up a story about whatever the topic was that you had, like, making up a story of what the coach said, I think it was not necessary. I think I feel like many people, like, it shouldn't have slide like that, and if she's a big influencer or whatever, it doesn't matter. It should not have slide, and like many things, like different topics, like whatever people do. I know it's like such a small thing, but it really should not have slide like that.
Right. Can't let it happen.
No.
Any thoughts from you on that? Just as far as a professional?
I think he said it best. I mean, I don't think she should still have a job. I think that's just not responsible from her standpoint.
Yep. So we're getting up close on our time here, but you guys have any other closing thoughts before we sign off on this podcast?
I just want to say, you know, it's an honor to be on here again. Thanks for lining this up, second year in a row. Hopefully this can be kind of an annual tradition. And, you know, it was good to get to meet you guys. And just best of luck. I think either of you could accomplish anything you want to.
Thank you.
Truly believe that.
All right, I'm going to thank the sponsors here real quick before we sign off. And that's Big Stone Therapies, Rescue 2.0 LLC, Grieve Law, Edward Jones with financial advisor Brett Adkins, Coldwell Banker Woodland Schmidt with David Dusenberry, Farm Bureau Insurance, the Kenny Agency, 5-Star Real Estate Leaders with Matt Parker, The Birdhouse, Scheid Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, Greenidge Realty with Chris Dykerman and Sarah Reel, and then our title sponsor, Chris Wink Real Estate of Coldwell Banker Woodland Schmidt. Again, thank you very much, Mike Meekhof. Appreciate you coming on when you're home like this and visiting us.
Yeah, of course.
Yep, and Shayla Hardy. And look forward to the stuff that you're going to continue to do in the winter as a sports nut. And then, of course, Myles Welch, can't wait to see the next TikTok we make on you for your on-court dramatics.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No, but thanks for all you do for us. I appreciate that too.
Yep, no problem.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Hope you have a great week.
Happy holidays.
Yep. See you later.